Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You are watching Release with Shauna Elise. While I have your attention, why don't you go down below and like and subscribe? Yeah, just go down there and do it. As you can tell by the title, this video is about surviving retail. I'm just gonna give you guys some pointers on how I survived retail and how I was able to be successful in a commission environment when I was in sales. I'm no longer in sales, as I've told you guys in previous videos. I now am a visual merchandiser. So I'm no longer in the store selling wise. But I wanted to share some tips because I feel like a lot of people who are in college or who are making a career out of retail could just really use these tips. So go ahead and get comfortable and sit back and listen to the tips that I have to share with you. First off, what I want to talk about with retail is it's one of the most difficult industries to work in. I feel like, food service and retail are the most unappreciated work environments that someone can work in. I think that it's because it's a service type of industry, and when people go somewhere where they're receiving service, they believe that they are entitled to feel a certain way about how a person who is giving that service should treat you. My number one tip on working a retail job, commission job, is one, do not allow things to get to you. Do not take it personal. I believe when I first came into retail, my first job was a little $5 store. Not my first job, my first retail job was my second job, was a little $5 retail store. And honestly, that was just like customer service. I don't really think that it was like a guest experience driven retail. It wasn't commission based. It was just a little customer service job. Our job was to make sure that we put the clothes out, we rang our guests, we were nice to them when we rung them, and make sure we cleaned up behind the guests. There was really no brand standard as to what our guest experience should look like. But even a little $5 store, people were rude to you. And, they felt entitled to a certain degree of guest experience when, they're completely destroying the store where you're trying to still clean up and you're trying to help them grab something off the wall. Don't take it personal. I am going to reference a time I worked for, I think I've told you guys before, I worked for Chico's. Chico's was an amazing company to work for. I learned so many great things working for them. And that's my experience. I'm not saying everyone who worked for Chico's had a positive experience. I had a very positive experience working for Chico's, and I worked for them for a while and in different locations. In every location that I worked for them, it was a very positive learning experience and fun experience for me as well. I'm not saying it didn't come with its trials and tribulations, but it was a positive experience for me. And that being said, it was my very first commission environment. It wasn't just commission, it was hourly and commission, but it was my first commission environment. One time when I was working for Chico's, I was helping a guest, and at this point, I was in a regular boutique. I wasn't in the outlet. I started out as an outlet associate. I was at this point in the boutique, and a woman asked me what the inseam was of a pant, and I did not know what an inseam was. So I'm like, what's an inseam? And, she looks to her friend and she's like, Barbara. She doesn't even know what an inseam is. And then looks back at me and says, are you stupid or are you dumb? How do you not know what an inseam is? And let me tell you, every part of me, everything in my body, like I just wanted to be like, like, hold on, who are you talking to? But, I had to reel it in. I was at work and kind of my job. And I was like, you know what? If you just let me know what it is, I can definitely get the answer for you. Everything in me wanted to take that personal. Everything in me wanted to tell her, look, I don't know what an inseam is, but I know what I'm going to get into if you don't quit messing with me. I'm going to get into her little booty. You know what I'm saying? But, that could have really affected me. kind of did, because it kind of stuck with me all these years. You know, I kind of felt like, so like, what the hell? But I think it was just the balls of her to say that to another human being is what kind of was just like, you know, it wasn't really that I took it personal, but it's like, it stands out to me in my top stories of how I've been treated in retail. And I've been treated pretty bad. That's not even the worst of what's happened. But that was the first time I was ever like, "What's skirt? Who are you talking to? No. You know who I am? No. We don't do that." But just don't take it personal. Understand that you're there to get a job. You are there to do a job. And no matter what you do, you're going to have someone whose day is horrible, whose day is bad, and they're going to shit on you because they have the opportunity to do so. Don't take it personal, okay? Just remember, try to make their day better. Try to turn it around for them. And if you can't, service them and get them out as quick as possible. My second tip on how to survive retail is and commission, is to really understand who you work with. I think the biggest issue in retail is that you're all buying for whoever walks in the door, right? When you're in a commission environment, whoever's coming through that door, you're all trying to get a sale because that extra guest is going to give you an extra amount in your pocket. So it's not only like you're getting the company money, but you're getting extra money in your pocket. When you're working in a commission environment, it's really important to have respect for the people that you work for and ensure that you give them the respect so they would return the respect back to you. It's not always a guarantee. You're gonna run into those people who are just cutthroat sharks, and that's just how they are. But you have to learn how to be a partner to people whenever you're not busy with someone, helping them with their guests, so they pay that favor back to you. What this does is it creates an environment where, you know, they may have 3 guests and they see another guest come in and they're gonna fall back because they know that whenever you have more guests than you could probably handle, they're going to release guests. You're gonna release guests to them so that way they can actually get a sale as well. I'm not saying give all your money away. I'm not saying that, but have enough respect for the guest and for the people that you work with to know how many customers that you're able to balance, and then to how many customers you need to go ahead and pass to someone else, so then that way they can get a great guest experience and they can get money in their pocket too. We all gotta eat. And if you can really focus in on a great customer and really build a great sell, what's gonna happen is you can get bigger dollar sales than getting all these little petty small sales that, yeah, they add up, but it's not the same thing as getting big quality sales. That is my third tip on how to survive commission. You wanna build a rapport with your guests to understand their needs. Understanding their needs is going to get you exactly to the point of closing a sale for them. The reason why you'll close that sale is because when they're telling you they're looking for white blouses, you're not showing them black tops. Listen to what your guest has to say to you. They are your goal to getting a sale from them. You can hear what they're saying as far as budget-wise. Oh, that's too expensive. Okay. Susan, what is your price range that you want to spend on this top that you're looking for today? Ask those questions that she has to give you a direct answer to. That was 4. Number 5. My 5th step in how to survive retail / commission environments. Open-ended questions. They teach you this when you come into retail, and everyone's like, oh, I asked her if she needed help. Yeah, you asked her if she needed help. When you walk into a store and someone comes up to you and says, do you need help? No, I don't need help. Now, I may actually need help, but the first thing I'm gonna tell you is no, because as human beings, our first response is to tell someone no when they're trying to help us in a retail environment. You wanna ask open-ended questions, and you wanna first establish a rapport with someone before you start asking questions that are sales-driven. You're gonna ask her questions like, how are you doing today? What brought you out shopping? Who are you shopping for? And then you go into, oh, how can I help you find that? What is your sister typically like? And asking those open-ended questions so you can determine their exact needs. My 6th step in how to survive retail / commission environments. Did I tell you already? Don't take it personal. Oh, 6 is my favorite number. Don't take it personal, okay? When it comes to scheduling and you working day shift versus night shift, whenever you're looking at someone else's schedule and what they're doing, and oh, so and so's making so much more money because they have the best shift, you have to work your way to those prime shifts sometimes. And that's just the nature of the beast. When you're working commission environments, what happens is the people who produce the most revenue get the shifts that are going to be the peak shifts for them to work on, because they have consistently shown that they can bring in the money. What you want to do is, you may not see as much traffic during a night shift or during a day shift, depending on what type of retail you're in. But you don't want to take it personal that you're not on the good shifts. The good shifts become the good shifts because they have that amount of traffic typically. That's when people are typically out shopping. If someone is coming to your store, let's say the evening is your bad shift, is coming to the store in the evening, the thing that you want to do is focus in on what that customer needs. It may take a little bit more time than it does during that day shift to close that sale, but you have that time with her because it's technically the bad shift, which normally means the low traffic shift. You have that time with her to spend, or him, to spend to get to their needs and build quality sales. Quality sales. My 7th tip on how to survive retail/commission environments is building quality sales. One thing that I really focused in when I was in commission was building sales with my guests that I wasn't just having them buy things. Oh, you like this earring? Oh, I'm gonna sell you these earrings. All right, next person. No, what I wanted to do is I wanted to completely outfit them. If you like that earring, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna show you a top to wear with that earring, a bottom to wear with that top, a jacket to wear over that. And then show you how that top can fit in your wardrobe and be worn in different ways. That bottom can fit in your wardrobe and be worn in different ways. I would teach them the benefit of each thing that I was showing them. Then I also listened to where they were at price range wise. Again, listening. Listen to where they're at price range wise. And through me listening of how much they want to spend without them so much telling me, you could gauge, okay, if I'm bringing her a $78 pant, let me bring her a $22 top. So that way you can offset her budget and she can still feel good about her purchases when she goes home. I say she a lot because I worked in women's fashion for so long, but this also applies in men's retail as well. You want to make sure they're getting the bang for their buck. And especially with those guys. You know, guys typically aren't going to really splurge on their clothing the way women do, typically. Now, we do know some men that do that. My number 8 tip when you're working in retail is to make sure that you have fun. Guests really feed off of a positive environment. And I've gone into stores where the employees felt like they didn't want to be there. And even though I was ready to spend money and I was ready to shop, I didn't want to spend my money in there because of the environment. I felt like they weren't happy to work there. So is this a really good company for me to invest my money in? Or if they're complaining to me about how they're mad about so-and-so having another shift, I don't care about that as a customer. It's really important that you create an environment that your guests want to shop in and they want to have fun with you in. That means turning up that music and blasting it a little bit higher. Yes, I was that store manager. Turn it up. I can't hear it. Turn it up. But I would dance with my customers. I would dance with my associates. And I would have a good time in my store. And people always wanted to come back and have fun with us. My number 9 tip on surviving commission/retail environments. So after you're done having fun with your guests, you also want to make sure you're being honest with her. Be her friend. Be her friend in the fitting room. If you want to let your friend walk out in that outfit, don't let your guests walk out in that outfit. Because what's going to happen is they're going to come back and they're going to return things because you were not honest with them. Or they're not going to buy into you as a salesperson because you have lied to them. Now, people say because I worked in casino, and that's a very large tourist market, that, oh, well, you don't ever see them again. It's not true. Vegas, for a lot of people, is a great destination for their conventions. So they're coming to the Vegas repeatedly. They're coming to Vegas every single year. With them coming to Vegas every year, there's a chance they could come back and shop with you in the store. They're not going to come back if last time you sent them looking like a hot mess. My biggest tells whenever I'm working with someone who I can tell does not like what they're wearing is I look for silent signals. They're touching their tummy. They're, you guys see me do this a lot. It's kind of my kind of coping thing. Like if you typically see me doing that, I'm thinking or I'm like trying to process something. But I typically do this a lot. I look at the body language of them, and when they put the outfit on and they're standing back and they're looking at in the mirror and I'm looking at it with them, I look for those tell signs as to how they feel in it. And then I ask them questions. How does it make you feel? Now, I may not like it on the person. One thing I never did was lie to my guests. A lot of people I work with would get mad at me because I'm walking past the fitting room and they're like, hey, Shauna, how does she look? And I'm watching the guest pull the back of the skirt down because her ass is out, or lifting up the front of her top because she looks uncomfortable. And I say, how do you feel in it? And she's like, I feel uncomfortable. You look uncomfortable. Why don't we go pull you something else? And they're mad at me because they're trying to sell this $300, $400 dress. She's not comfortable in it. Well, you got to find her something else. If that means if she's okay with that price point, finding something else in that price point, finding something else in that price point. But you don't want to sell her something where she feels unconscious, self-conscious in it and never wears it again. It sits in the back of her closet. So every time she goes in her closet and she sees that item, she's going to think, I bought that in Vegas. I never wear it. So when she comes to Vegas, she's not going to feel confident when she's spending money. And then you mess it up for everybody else. Be honest with your customers. Be honest with your guests. What that does, it allows them to feel confident in what they're buying, and it also lessens your returns. My 10th tip on how to survive commission/retail is to step out, have your guests step out if they're trying on clothing, or stand with them as they're observing themselves if you're selling shoes. Have them look at it and feel it and touch it and be in the moment with them so you can read when they're really not liking something. What this does is it helps you close the sale if you feel like they're second guessing themselves and you know the fit is great on her. The look is good for her. It's appropriate for what she's going to or where she's going in it or what she's buying it for. You're able to solidify that in that moment where you see her having those second guesses. Again, this also stops returns. Not completely, but it helps reduce returns, and it also gives you the credibility with your guest. Thank you so much for watching Release with Shauna Elise, and go out there and kick butt and have fun when you're working retail. That's one of the best things about our jobs is that people come to shop with us because they need to get away. They want to have fun. They're having a bad day. It's our job to turn the day around and not take it personal when they're not having a good day right when they walk in. Let's make it better for them. Happy selling.